Hello everyone, Mimikins here. Today's video is going to look at the Gunlance in Monster Hunter Rise demo. This weapon has seen some improvements, but I still feel it lacks in the mobility department. A lot of weapons have seen Silkbind attacks that are gap closers, allowing you to get to the monster quickly. However, if you want to do such a thing on Gunlance, you need to sheath your weapon first and then use the regular wire bug abilities, launching yourself forward. You can then press X or ZR to instantly draw your weapon. While this is still faster than getting close to a monster in world, I was hoping to have something a little more seamless. Perhaps I'm just feeling this a lot more since I covered and played most of the other weapons first. There was a move showcase for the Gunlance in one of the trailers which would be the answer to all of Gunlance's mobility problems, but it wasn't in the demo to use. The hopping on Gunlance covers less range compared with World, and I hope we will gain access to abilities such as Evade Extender to improve this. There is a little trick you can do which drastically improves the hopping distance you can achieve, while also regenerating your stamina. Hold down the A button to charge your shell, then quickly press B and back on the stick. Your character will travel much further and you can keep doing it. Just make sure you have at least one shell before attempting this. It won't get consumed as long as you keep cancelling the shelling, otherwise your character will just tap the Gunlance, prompting you to reload it. One thing about hopping I am really happy about is there's no longer a forced full reload if you hop forward and try to shell. In Monster Hunter World, it was instinctive to want to shell after hopping to close the gap on a monster, only to end up reloading and being punished for it. I prefer the freedom to manually reload when I want, which allows for a greater combination of skills without having to worry about my hunter giving free hits to a monster through accidentally reloading. To reload your weapon, you press ZR and A. This will reload your shells as well as your Wyrmstake cannon. If you're fighting and only want to replenish your shells, you can do a quick reload by pressing ZR and A after any attack. The basic combo with X, you can press any direction at the start if you want to do a lunging thrust. You can still do the poke shell technique for when you want to be quick and mobile. Shelling can now be performed at any time as long as you have shells by pressing A. Tapping the button will give you the regular shelling, but if you hold it you will see the Gunlance now lights up. As soon as it turns red you can release it to gain the full damage. You can cancel the charge by pressing B. If you hold down on the stick as well as B, you'll get that super hop I was talking about earlier. You can change the angle of your charge shells by pressing up and down on the left stick. But you'll need to be pretty fast to react, as after a short time the shell will fire off automatically. You can also unload all your shells for a full burst combo, which deals some nice damage by using rising slash X and A with an overhead smash X followed by A with your burst fire. You can also do this after one of your Silkbind attacks. Wyrmstake cannon fires a blade that hits multiple times before exploding. This can now be performed after numerous combos. Under the character's health bar you will see this icon, which indicates whether it's available or not. This can be loaded at any time through the standard reload. Some of the ways to perform it are pressing A after 2 shelling attacks, doesn't matter if they're charged or not. Using rising slash twice by pressing X and A together. Rising slash by X and A followed by 2 thrusts, then either X for another thrust or press A. You can also fire off quickly after a charged shelling attack by pressing down on the stick and A. Guard thrust is still there, activated by pressing ZR and X. Wyvern's fire, this one has seen several changes. You activate it by pressing ZR, X and A at the same time. There's now a UI icon displayed below the character's health bar showing the cooldown of this skill as well as the animation on your Gunlance. You are no longer vulnerable while using this skill, as it now has guarding properties similar to holding up your shield. If you take hits, it will drain your stamina. As soon as you activate Wyvern's fire, the directional stick changes to allow you to aim with it. The cooldown is much longer than it was in World, but it can be reduced considerably by performing one of the Silkbind attacks, Hail Cutter, which is activated by pressing ZL and X and costs 2 Wirebug charges. It will cause your hunter to jump up on a Wirebug, performing a rising slash and then an overhead smash. Each time you use it, it reduces the cooldown of Wyvern's fire by a considerable amount. You can also, when the Wirebug launches you into the air, press A to do shelling attacks and your character will stay in the air due to the recoil. This is fun to do, but not really practical unless the monster is flying. I prefer to land and go into a full burst combo to deal some nice damage. This is a more costly investment as it requires 2 charges, which take longer to refill compared with even using 2 of the next Silkbind attack, which is Guard Edge, by pressing ZL and A, costing 1 Wirebug. A well-timed guard regenerates your weapon's sharpness and can be followed up with various attacks. This window is tighter than some of the other guard moves from other weapons, but since it only costs 1, you can use it often. Adding in extra sharpness is amazing for Gunlance since it eats through sharpness like crazy with shelling. Overall, while Gunlance does suffer from mobility issues, I hope this will be rectified when the game launches and we gain access to the boomstick that Capcom was keeping from us. The ability to guard while using Wyvern's fire makes me want to use it all the more, and offers some utility in the form of a guard point. I won't miss the fact that they removed the hop into shelling reload, which caught me off guard more times than I care to remember. Wyrmstake cannon feels better integrated and has the ability to stun when using wide shelling. Guard Edge offers not only a quick way to block incoming damage but also add sharpness to your weapon, but the window isn't as generous as compared with some of the other weapons. Aerial combat is fun to play around with, but I haven't really found a practical use for it in the demo at least. I can't wait to try out all the shelling types when the game launches. Thanks for watching, please support the channel by liking and subscribing, and I'll see you next time.